Hello, everybody. Welcome to Journeys Unpacked with me, Dr. Saeeda Jaffar. Today we are joined by no other than Adnan Kazim from Emirates Airline. Emirates has over 140 destinations across the world with more than 70 countries. Adnan is the Deputy President and the Chief Commercial Officer. Welcome, Adnan. Great to have you here with us.
Thank you, Dr. Saeed, and thanks for this opportunity.
It's a pleasure to have you. Adnan, we were just talking a little bit before we started, and you mentioned something really, really interesting. You mentioned you've been at Emirates more than 30 years. You've been with Emirates since pretty much close to the very, very early days. I'm sure many of us would love to hear a little bit more about what was Emirates like back in the day and how has it grown over the last few years?
Well, if I recall back in April 92, when I joined as a management trainee, the company was quite small. Hardly we have, 15 destinations, a limited number of aircraft were sitting on ground. We were expanding. Still, I think the company was going through quite a clear, ambitious, and in terms of adding new places and new markets, particularly into Europe, into Asia, where the focus was given. But yes, it's a journey that I commenced with this company from day one, which was 7 years after commencing the airline back in October 85, till I joined and gone through the same journey with the company from day one with being a management trainee, worked in many stations back in Dubai, and grew with the company over time, which is quite an interesting, journey I have gone through.
It is, absolutely. And I think it's probably one of the industries which is undergoing such tremendous change as we think through. So given your view, given where you are, how do you see this industry changing and evolving, and how do you see what's coming?
Well, the industry have gone through a major change over time, whether that to do with a change in the product, that gone through where we lifted the business class and the first class, to more innovation came in, to more closed door first class, to more closed door business class gradually is getting. It's evolving into the premium economy, which is a new product. The service became as a high standard, high priority, core to the requirements of the consumer. Digital is playing a vital role in driving the change as well in terms of shaping the industry way forward through the online platform that's coming in, through the FFP program, which is again is evolving and going through, moving away from the traditional way of classic FFP program to more loyalty and to more and a card that you use it from day till night, and that evolvement is part of that consumer requirement. I think consumer becoming more and more, I would say, educated to what we're doing, and they're asking for more. And that's why we need to be always into that innovation, doing new things, innovating new products, coming in with a new seamless product offering and how we shape the industry way forward. But I think the industry is all about being ahead of the game, and innovation definitely play a vital role in how to shape the way forward, which is core.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if I just think about tourism, and if I think about the tourism industry, I think there's absolutely a boom that we've seen. We've seen this across the world, but I think we especially see it in our region. So if you look at the UAE as well as Saudi, I think these are probably the two countries that have seen the largest boom or the largest growth in international tourists. I think Dubai experienced we welcomed 17 million international visitors last year. It's in the background of just tremendous tourism growth that's happening. And I know in this, Emirates has just charted an incredible year. You guys have had a record-breaking year last year, and you've seen some incredible successes. What do you think have been some of the most important factors that have contributed to this success?
I would say, I think it's definitely, as you mentioned, the whole industry is booming. A major recovery is coming across the board from all airlines, including us, and putting back to the capacity. Today, the industry is sitting the year 2024 above the pre-COVID by 0.5%, which has really gone through a full recovery. We're doing the same thing And as you mentioned, Dubai is playing a vital role for us. If I look back to the COVID time, when the whole thing was locked down, Dubai took a very critical decision by our leaders, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid at that time, in opening the city back in July 2020. And that was kind of an opening the gateway, not from attracting more and more tourists to come in, but even making the city ready to handle the tourists at that time with the right COVID measures, and made us even stand stronger, because we then were ahead of the game in terms of flying more aircrafts, making our cabin crew more ready, our pilots flying left and right. We recovered by then at least 80-85% of our network. And that kind of recovery that came in from that decision made us to be the first comer out there when many airlines and many countries still were in lockdown, still the COVID thing was going on. But we established ourselves. And when the boom started to come in terms of the traffic was started to shape up, Dubai was ready. And we were ready as well. And that's why we ended having a record profit. If you look at last year's result, which was exceeding the 10 billion dirham profit, what we achieved last 6 months of the current financial year was equivalent to last 1 year the whole. I mean, we did in 6 months a record profit as well, and we paved the way and continue to be in that acceleration in terms of attracting, building our network, putting more capacity, but bringing more traffic to Dubai. And one fundamental change happened in that journey, that gradually we have seen Dubai used to be always standing at 25% to maximum 30% of the traffic used to come into Dubai. But today, we have 40 to 45% of overall traffic of Emirates Airline is ending into Dubai. And that, I think, part of it is to do with the COVID, I think, because they got to know about the city, they got to know about the safety, how this leadership, the trust they build in the consumer with the city. It definitely added a huge value in terms of coming back. But they are not coming back as tourists anymore. They're coming back with their families, and they're establishing, they're building their businesses in Dubai. Dubai becoming way beyond attracting tourists only. It's attracting many segments, the financial, the bankers, the celebrities of the world. They're putting their money into the city because the kind of faith and the trust they built in over this period of time, which definitely Dubai was the winner in the journey. And we became much stronger in our establishment and our network as Emirates Airline. And we have seen continuous high seat factor. I mean, the one thing which is, again, fundamental to mention that we have gone away from the old days of that shoulder and low season and high season. I mean, the kind of demand that we're seeing coming in, whether to Dubai or even into EK network, Emirates network, is continuing to be across, like every month, standing at high seat factors, very strong sort of demand. And this is coming even not, Dubai is definitely its core, but even the region, the way we're seeing happening in Saudi, the way they're shaping as well their capitals, Riyadh, and the way establishment is happening down there. In Qatar, the same thing. The whole region is really booming and shaping itself, which is definitely all they complement each other and add value, because what we are doing today is not bringing the traffic to Dubai only, but even serving the whole region as well as part of our objective.
That's right. And I think we saw that probably in no place as strongly as we saw that during a lot of the World Cup, during many other places, right? Where Dubai really and truly was acting as a hub for many. And I think it's the more of these shared experiences we can create, I think the better it is for a lot of our passengers and consumers and travelers. So absolutely. And for any of us who've been in and out of the Bay Airport recently, the 40%, 45% number that you mentioned makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
you definitely see a lot more people getting off the plane and into the city as opposed to pre-COVID.
And you see even the city, the way it really is is shaping up. The occupancies of the hotels, the traffic that you see building up, the shopping malls, they're hitting records in terms of the visitors, the restaurants, all the chains, the supply chains and all the touch points. They're really busy, and they're really showing how Dubai really sitting today in the tourism sort of capital.
Indeed. We absolutely see that. You know, it's interesting. We were talking about the pandemic, and one of the things that we've certainly noticed in our business is that the pandemic fundamentally changed the behaviors of consumers. And simple things like, if I look at our just GCC pre-pandemic, cash used to be more prevalent versus what it is today, right? I mean, about 40% of transactions used to be digital versus today it's closer to high 60s, closer to 70%. That has changed. There's a lot more tapping of the phone or of the cards as opposed to before. So there's been a massive shift, at least in what we see from a payments point of view. I'm sure that you also see a massive shift that's been permanent as a result of COVID in the travel industry.
I mean, Emirates was always into that digital platform in terms of shaping the online booking and attracting more and more traffic to the B2C channel. But once the pandemic kicked off, definitely that went through a roof in terms of the demand into the online channel, the trust firstly into the channel, but at the same time the consumer shift that happened where people were more looking for something that more seamless, more hassle-free, and they sit at home, they search for destination, they search for many sort of bundle, they get through the products while they're sitting at home, and that kind of new thing that we're seeing, which is again, we were quite ready because if I look at pre-pandemic, the platform of online was contributing almost 20-25% of the total sales. During pandemic, it went to the roof of maybe 70-80% of the business was coming through the online channel. That came now to more normalities in terms of the way it is. Today we're sitting at 50% of the business coming through the direct channel, which is showing how people and consumer are looking for value for money. They're looking for something to be seamless, something to be easy while they are sitting at home. And the platform should be really well equipped because what helped us as well from the past, the investment that we put in through the online channel, which definitely played a vital role for us while the pandemic happened. We were quite ready to face the new kind of wave of demand that was coming in directly to us to handle them or through the payment even gateways that we created either through visas or other gateways. They all were tools available for us. Skyward of the World that we mentioned again was helping that sort of to bring that loyalty into our Skyward platform and make it more seamless. But one thing we did more than that was around the airport even, how to create that experience of seamless into the online check-in through the web and through the mobile or through the immigration that work that we have done and make it more seamless. When you travel, you don't need even to show your passport anymore, or the biometric that work is in progress to phase it out to many other boarding gate that we have, so that you don't need to show your boarding pass again and your passport to be checked. Is all seamless experience that we're trying to create around the traveling journey and make it more hassle-free as a way forward, which is, we believe that this is the future and that's how things will shape up as a way forward.
Absolutely. So a lot more digital first experiences and conveniences built into it. Makes perfect sense. You mentioned something important, right? You talked a little bit about Skywards. And if I just step back and I just take a broader view, I think consumer choice is critical today. We live in a world where each and every one of us can choose to do many things with our time. And if we choose to travel, then there are many ways in which we can travel. And every single moment, every time a passenger travels on Emirates, they make a choice to do that. And I know Emirates has been very, very successful in creating and driving consumer loyalty, passenger loyalty, and creating an ecosystem that is very very reinforcing. So I'd love to hear from you. What are some of the things that you were thinking about as you think about creating customer loyalty? How do you create customer loyalty? And how do you see this change and evolve as we go forward?
I mean, one thing that we learn, coming from the pandemic, learning that when things started to move, the first comer into coming to our platform and start to travel and start to book were people whom they were holding the Skyward members. And they were the first one to come in. And that gradually, over time, today we're seeing 61% of the traffic that we are carrying, they're all coming from the Skyward members. And that shows the association between the brand and the loyalty and how important they establish together. And gradually, we're trying to even enhance our capability in terms of to make it more options available for the consumer. Today, we have more than 200 partners from retail to rent-a-cars to hotels and airlines, where of the choice that the passenger or our passenger or consumer can pick from. And gradually, we're trying to move towards not only creating the value on board, like an upgrade or even excess baggage or others, or maybe accessing to Emirates lounges, but beyond that even, to make that sort of loyalty more from the day till night. It's more like creating the environment of Skyward every day, with all the retails and all the shops and all the shopping malls, so that you can spend your money from day till night, and your token of Skyward will be with you all the way through. So today the platform is more sitting around, you can earn miles and you can burn it on board of the flight, but with the new technology that we're investing in, we're moving from just earn to earn and burn into the city, and that's kind of a fundamental change which we're bringing. And we're trying to create the Skyward not only for the entities outside the Emirates Group, but even within Emirates Group, where we have many other entities for the group, like Skyward, Emirates Holidays, how we can bring in an association to be a group, Emirates Group sort of token, and bring benefits to different entity that we have within the group beyond only the core commercial passenger entity, which is something that will come in as we evolve the way forward. But definitely, overall, we see it's a loyalty that's going way beyond the kind of, the platform of earning and spending money into the aircraft, to more the ecosystem that we're trying to create around Dubai, around many retail shops, and something that you use it like a credit card, of the day.
Right, absolutely. And it feels that Skywards is almost a loyalty currency for the city as opposed to Emirates alone.
Emirates only, yeah.
Absolutely. And I have to say, I think even the co-brands that we have that for Skywards are probably some of the most powerful co-brands in the market, and you see how that has incredible customer pull and how that really makes it easier for the consumers to make sure that, as you said, right, that they earn enough on those so that they can eventually burn it across the ecosystem.
That's
exactly. And it's that balance that's important, and to constantly grow, to constantly evolve. Absolutely. Now, I have to ask a question, the following question. How have payments changed when it comes to specifically how consumers are paying, how they're spending, how they're getting on? Do you see a large change in how consumers choose to make the payments, both for their tickets, but also when they're on board for other elements?
Well, I think today, if I look at it from the payment, gradually, as we talked about it earlier, they're moving away from the cash. Credit card became like a norm of the payments, and we are trying to invest even more into the technology of payments, either through Emirates payments or through the channels that we're trying to make it seamless, but at the same time, we're trying to create more options. There are certain payments that you can do in certain places, you cannot do in others. So we're trying to create some Africa gateway or Africa payments, which is separate from what you can pay and more freely in Middle East. But the way things shaping up with the volume that we're creating today, which is 50% of the business is coming on direct channel, the credit card for sure will be playing a vital role in how the payment gateway to be looking at it, and how we can invest even more money behind that to make it more seamless and many options to be available in front of the consumer. That will be the winner, I think, as a way forward, which is quite critical, I think, to focus in and do more even as next step.
Oh, absolutely. Again, so much happening in this space. It's exciting. We touched upon this a little bit earlier in terms of the new technologies that are shaping, changing, evolving. Right? You can't talk to anyone about the generative AIs of the world just rearing and impacting our businesses. I'm curious, how is Emirates looking at some of these innovative new technologies such as generative AI, or let's say what was the metaverse and all of these other things, and incorporating them into business?
I mean, it's quite an daily engagement that we have from various platforms within Emirates, how we can bring in the benefit. And as you mentioned, it's quite evolving in terms of the technology as a way forward. From our side, we took a step to say, let's start for something in-house than opening to the consumer, because we believe that we're too big to be opening that to the consumer, and things may not happen in a right way. So for us, the step one was more creating the kind of metaverse for cabin crew training. The onboard training that we do today, it's happening through more a metaverse sort of platform where physically they don't need to come in and spend time to come into the office, and sometimes they are in different remote locations, so that will ease up for them in terms of how we can train the cabin crew, but physically you don't need to be in a training college to go through that training. That's one component. Second thing that we're trying to focus in is through the human resources side. Could be that through the recruitment processes that we're trying to build in, which we believe that a lot of recruitment can happen through the AI of the world. I mean, you don't need to be physically there in terms of the shortlisting and going through a full-fledged interviews of, and that's where we're giving a bit of focus into these two core platforms and the learning that will come in from these two. And then you can phase it out to many places. I mean, potentially could be used even for the contact center as a way to handle many questions and query that will come in from the consumer, where you don't need to, you can handle it through the AI. You don't need physically to use your agent time around that. That could be one domain, or could be the future in the retail shop as another domain we can shape the way forward, where again, a lot of queries and information could be used as this platform as a way forward, or could be used at the airport even. The check-in, a lot of check-ins can happen, and a lot of queries around checking the passport or checking the documents, and thing that's happening today manually, you can turn it into the AI. So it's a lot of learning can come in, and a lot of speed up can come in through, could be legal department as well, in terms of how you can use the platform for reviewing the contracts, the P&L, the procurement department, and instead of doing 20 contracts manually or hundreds of contracts, you can do that through the AI. So there are a lot of things happening, but again, because we're maybe as a company too big, we're trying to take like a step by step in terms of how embed these kind of the new technologies and AIs and metaverse into embedding into the company of the future.
Which makes a lot of sense, right? You start internally, you test, you learn, you create the efficiencies, and then you roll it out. Makes a lot of sense. So there's one question that is always top of mind of most of us that travel. How does Emirates Airline actually select the in-flight entertainment as well as the in-flight food options?
Oh, that's interesting, because that's quite a lengthy process, which is all going through a lot of customization, personalization. when you do any new route that you operate to, we try to go a more detailed research around it, not only how that route will look like, but we need to understand the culture of that route in terms of what they want to see on board, what they want to read, what kind of meal they want to eat, and that customization of the meal that comes from various routes that we apply, they all come back to head office, and then we look at the patterns of the movements. If, for example, we have certain nationalities quite strong in, say, Dubai to San Francisco, even though the route is into US, but that's a detailed work that need to be customizing to the meal of the requirement to that sort of region. So it's a lot to do with the nationalities, with the cultures, and that's how we shape the content. But content for us of what we offer on board, we're always after the latest and the newest, what's available out there. So we try to, again, one of the things that you need to be ahead of the game in terms of what's available in terms of the movies or the TV shows or any of the content that will be something popular. We try to be embedding into that the eye system that we have, to the extent that we have reached almost 6,000 audio and video channels on board, and they build in. Some of them are quite new because you have to cater to the need of different generations as well. You have the old generation, the medium, and the new generation, and the taste changes from one to another, which you need to cater to these kind of needs. So it's more like a full-fledged research that goes behind it in terms of using the right content that caters to the need of the mix that we carry. I mean, today you're dealing with over 50 million passengers that comes from different places, different of the world, and they have different requirements. And the selection of the meal happen around the mix of the passenger that we have on board on different routes, not necessarily linked to that route, but linked to the nationalities of where you cater to, which sometimes changes. I mean, if you have some places in the United States that we operate, you have many traffic, a big number of traffic coming from India, for example. Yeah. So that you need to, again, to go for more vegetarian meal, for more a requirement of certain route that you need. And that's how, and selection of the meal normally happen is quite vast, I think. You have maybe hundreds of type of meal that we have, and they go through rotation. Okay. So that because we have many frequent travelers whom they travel quite often with us, we try to change the menu every 3 months so that people don't get bored sort of with the same type of meal every time, and they be changed based on the requirement of the seasons. Many times we bring in even and customize to the different fests that's happening. Could be Christmas meal, or could be even Diwali that happens, or could be even during Ramadan and Eid, and try to bring in different flavors which fits to the requirement of certain places, or maybe the Chinese New Year, and you need to know about the entire world of fest that's happening and how to cater to that need as well, which is it's a lot of work that need to go behind the scene, but it's something I think we're good in it in terms of how we're shaping it.
Oh, absolutely. I think the most interesting part is you have to be extremely global because, as you said, it's 50 million coming from all over the world. But at the same time, you have to be able to make it such that it is catering for that one person. So it's a balance, and using data to do it is, I think it's phenomenal the way you're doing that. If you look ahead now, in terms of what you see coming in this industry and for Emirates, what are perhaps a couple of things that excite you the most?
Well, I think it continues to be like evolving industry. You need always to be ahead of the game in terms of shaping the way forward, and could be that in the product domains with new technologies coming in, the 350s, the 777-9X and 8X, which is new to us as well. And we're coming in with a completely new product and new innovation around these products, and as a way forward, it's something to watch how that will shape up as a way forward. There is a lot of, I would say, attention coming around the sustainability and the SAF and how that will shape up our industry as a way forward, which is the sustainable aviation fuel. And it's a big hype and big talk is going on, but it's something again is interesting to monitor and watch and see how we can address that challenge. We need to monitor the behavior of the consumer, which is quite interesting for us. What we have seen on board, a change that's coming in recently from where the premium cabin always was filled in by an elder people whom they get rich and they're above 60s. Today, the cabin being populated or being used by younger people, and between the 30s and 40s, and even sometimes 25. I mean, you see them in first class and business class, and that's a change. And through that change, you need definitely to adapt to new requirements to cater to the need of this generation. They became richer because of the boom that came from the technologies and became from the bitcoins and through different channels, and that's something really an interesting thing even for me to monitor and see how things evolving in terms of the mix of the channel that we're seeing. We're seeing more premium ledgers of the world now becoming more important than, even though the corporate is shaping up. But that's another domain of change is coming. And to help everything, I think, is all around how the digital really is moving through the speed. The digital in terms of the technologies and how that will shape our way forward. Could be through the aircraft manufacturer, or could be through the technologies on board, or even the experience that will come into different touch points that we have, including the retail shop, or through the contact center, or through the airport of the future, in terms of how that will come in as a way forward. I mean, many people expect that, and maybe 5 years to come, you don't need to carry anything anymore when you go to the airport. You just need to move in and get to the aircraft seamlessly. With all the cameras will be around you. That's kind of an experience that will shape up the way forward. So it's a lot. I would say the industry is going through a major change, but something which is interesting, that we reached to a level of we have seen everything, I think, of the past in terms of the challenges, in terms of the impacts, and to be honest, the future for us is really will stand to be quite bright and quite optimistic of what's coming as well, with all what's going around us in terms of the challenges and the way the demand is shaping up. Is really something to watch the space and pave the way for the future.
Absolutely. Looking forward to the future ahead. Thank you, Adnan. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you with us today. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Saeeda, and thanks for your time as well.